All right, so we're gonna put an electric fence over my about an 1.5 acre cornfield that I use for the deer for late season. My dad actually shot his buck out of this same cornfield last year. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put T-posts in the corners. We're gonna use a 5th T-post in the side because it's not a straight line. So we're gonna do that to shore it up. You wanna use your T-posts in the corners to make sure it's a tight connection. We've got these to connect the wires to the T-posts. These are those T-post wraparound insulators so it doesn't hit the T-post itself. You've got your grounding. You got your grounding rods. There's 3 of them. I use 3-foot rods. We use the poly wire. We don't use the metal stuff. The poly wire does just fine. Clamps for our solar power unit. I got the American Farm Works one. I got a 10 mile, probably overdid it a little bit. Just want a little bit more power to go through. We've got our tester for it. I'm gonna go through and I'll be showing you where we put it and just do a makeshift one because remember this is only temporary. All right, so we've walked around the T-posts and then the plastic push-in ones to hold it. So you can see we put the T-posts on all the corners and then we did, it's windy out here. We did about 10 steps between each one. That covered about 1.5 acres. We needed about 35 of them. Could have gotten away with 34. I'll probably pick up a few extra just to be safe in the future. We went all the way around and now it's time to do the wire and then set the charger and we should be good. Okay, now we're putting on the insulators on the T-posts. What they do is it makes it so it doesn't hit the T-post itself to take any of the juice out of the electric fence. And how you do this, you take this part right here and you put it on first. Then you just literally push this around. These are pretty flexible and durable. All right, so here's my tip for this. When you run that wire constantly around, you want obviously a closed circuit where it's not gonna be broken. So what you do is you put a few extra of the insulators on. So when you run that wire up, it goes around and it doesn't touch the T-post at all. There it is, my dad's walking the top half. And then I take the wire and click this in. Oh, I just missed it. I take the wire and click this in the top. So ideally, you want it about, these are 4-foot posts. We want it about 4 feet and then about 12 inches off the ground. So we're on the last ground. We did 3 ground rods, 10 feet apart each. We're just going to put that in there and then connect everything to the unit and see if it goes from there. I chose to do 3 of the 3-footers. I know proper groundage is very important. If we need to go deeper or get more, then we'll do that, but the soil's pretty good here, so make sure to know the soil and see what you have to do. All right, so what I did is I bought this off of Amazon. This is just to connect the electric fence to it. You could probably just use the poly tape or the poly wire if you really want to. I just kind of got conned into buying this. So you unscrew this, bring it right close to it. Unscrew that all the way. Get the eye hole there. All you gotta do is screw it down so it's connected, tighten that up. I'm gonna wrap this around a couple times so it doesn't have much loose wire. There we go. Now all we gotta do is test it, which we're gonna do next, and we should be good to go. One thing I did want to add about this American Farm Works is it literally has an on and off switch, which makes it nice and easy to use. No charge, come up, just turn it on. So if you ever have any work to do, if a deer busts the line or whatnot and you have to tie a new line, just turn it off, tie it together, and turn it back on. All right, this is a tester, the volt tester. I also have it linked down below. It is very faint, so you're not going to be able to see this in the camera, but you can definitely see it. We tried to come in the shade. I'm going to have my dad to get a close-up, but I literally have to put my hand right over it. I'm sure at night, if you wanted to show it better, it would be at night. So what you do is you just put this around one of your wires, put the hook around it, you put the ground in, and then you can see lights go all the way up, and it's hitting that 7th. It's not gonna zoom in.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, you can see it. Keep it right there. So you'll see there you go. So this is our electric fence. We put it in to protect this corn. We'll see how it holds up. I really like this poly wire because all you have to do is break it and tie it together. So if a deer does run through this, all I'm gonna do is I got a bunch of extra wire. I'm just gonna tell them, take a piece, tie it, make it taut again, and good to go. All right, one more thing I do want to talk about is the vegetation. I'm gonna come around here probably once every few weeks and just take a weed whacker, go around it. Just make sure you cut it down, because the more vegetation that hits this, the less power I have in fence, and obviously the least effective it will be. Hey everyone, I wanted to give you an update of the corn that we put electric fence around to keep the deer out this year. It really worked well. This is after 6 weeks of us originally putting this fence up, and you can just tell that the corn is almost mature. It's already taller than I am, and I am ecstatic for this season because last year they wiped out, I would say, a good 40 or 50% of the corn before it could reach maturity. Literally would nip it off as it was growing, so I had to put an end to that, and this electric fence solved our problem. We ended up putting a 3rd line in here. Before we only did the top and the bottom, but we did run a 3rd line. And the reason is because the first night we put this up, we look out here in the evening and there was a deer standing in it. And we were like, are you kidding me? So I went and spooked him out, and he went right in between, no issues. They could go over it, but this 3rd one has really seemed to do the charm. Now, I do have to add, in my situation, my neighbor has a ton of corn to the left of this. So if this was an isolated food plot, I would definitely run another row about 3 feet out. And what that means is you take the same exact thing, but you run it about 3 or 4 feet out, and then you run it one line about the same height as the middle one. You want it in between the top and the bottom going around. And why that is because the deer work on depth perception. They get up to the first one and they can't tell if it's dangerous to jump over and hit the next ones or whatnot. I didn't put that other one around this year. I gambled with just the one and it worked well. I'll probably do this every year. I just want to show you some of his corn. This is his for the first few rows, and this is mine. So you can see the maturity, nothing bitten off over here. I look over here and it is literally just torn apart. And it's like this all the way up, where my corn is tall and mature. And this is only after 6 weeks of us putting it up. Done a great job. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'll walk you through anything that I did during the setup and I can help you out.